Okay, in this lab, actually, we are trying to work about the social engineering tools that is in on Kali Linux. There are lots of applications, there are lots of tools that you can use for hacking a website or hacking a password, but one of the most important and one of the famous and popular toolkit is a social engineering tools that are already installed in the Kali Linux. So before having obviously before using this toolkit, you need to have Kali Linux. I provide for you the installation guide, and you can follow the steps. It's not too complicated. You are just following the steps, and then after installing that in your VirtualBox that I install that, don't worry about this one. I just have Kali Linux here, and this is the one that you already installed before. We don't care about the Ubuntu and other operating system that you have in VirtualBox. Just after installing the Kali Linux, you are seeing the Kali Linux here, and you just start running the Kali Linux. After starting the Kali Linux, you are seeing this page that comes up. Actually, it's a little bit messy, but I show you how you can get access to social engineering toolkit. So if you want to get access to social engineering toolkit, there is an icon here. You are hover over on this icon and then come down and see the social engineering toolkit that is here. It is social engineering tools, and then hit the enter. That social engineering toolkit that is here. Okay, so before going into the social engineering toolkit, it asks you about the password of Kali. What is the Kali is my username. Actually, in Ubuntu, I provided my name for my username, but here I provide Kali for my username. It doesn't matter. Actually, you have put whatever username that you want, but I just chose Kali as a username for myself. So the only thing that I need to do is about set the password. What password you at first set for your operating system, for your Kali Linux. Remember, the Kali Linux is completely different from the Ubuntu that you installed before. So I provide the link for you to see how you can install the Kali Linux on your system. So here I just put my password, type my password, and after typing my password, as you see, I have different menus like social engineering attacks, penetration testing, and other stuff. But the important thing that I have here is social engineering attacks. So sometimes you can think about that. The social engineering toolkit in some cases is so good, and in some cases it's so bad. You can consider it as a knife. The knife sometimes is good based on your purpose. It's good because you want to just cut a cheese, cut a bread, but in some cases it's not good at all because you want to purposely do that for bad thing like killing someone or stabbing someone. So in this case, we can think about that social engineering toolkits. It's a good thing in some stuff, for example, for testing your website or for testing your password, that how much it not for testing your passwords, just how much you can entice the user. In some cases, actually, instead of hacking a password through brute force or dictionary, you can just entice the user. You can motivate the user to click on a link that you provided in his email, and then after that you can get the password easily instead of just putting your time and hack that password through brute force or dictionary. So it's so important for us to know about how you can entice the user, how you can have a beautiful background, how you can pretend that you are coming from a legal organization, that the user trusts you and coming into your website or open your email that you sent to him already. But as I told you before, there are many options that you are using in social engineering toolkit. But I want to just show you one thing. Through all of these things, I want to show you one of the options that we can have. And this one is the thing that, for example, you want to monitor a person that is coming into the web server and see all the stuff that he's doing on the web server, or on the server, on the web page, not on the web server, actually on the web page. You want to do some stuff that is happening and what user is doing there, meaning we are listening to that web page. And another important note is that when I just type the password here, before that maybe it asks you about terms and services. I already did that before. I mean, before coming these numbers that you are seeing, maybe it asks you about the terms of services, about do you agree about the terms of services or no, and you just click yes, and then this page comes up for you. Okay, and now I want to just click number one because I want to go to social engineering attacks. And after that, again, another a couple of numbers comes up again for me about which one do you want to do. So I want to go to website attack vectors. So I just go into number two. As you see, there are a lot of other stuff too, but I just go for number two, that is website attack vectors. And the good thing about the social engineering toolkit is about in each part they try to explain for you what those are. For example, what is Java Apple attack, or what is a Metasploit browser exploit. So all of these things can be explained enough for you, and you can see which one do you like. So I'm just going for a Metasploit browser exploit, which is the number two, and hit the enter. And here it asks me about what template, which one do you want to like. Do you want to have a web templates? Do you want to clone your website by yourself, or you have to just customize by yourself? All of them, it depends on you. So usually we are using a generic web template, but you can also clone a website if you want to. But I just hit number one because I don't want to clone a website. And then again, and it asked me about, okay, are you using NAT forwarding or no? As I told you before, I just want to see some activation. For example, open a web page, and this web page has an IP address, and I want to see when I open this web page what's happening in this site, what social engineering toolkit does it for me in my site. So first of all, I do not have any external web page that I'm going through that and see what's happening there and just monitoring. So the only thing that I can do is do some internal things, and inside of even in my Kali Linux. So it asked me about, do you need network address translation? Obviously not, because I'm not going outside of my Kali, outside my subnet local IP addresses. So I just typing no here. And it asked me about the URL that I want to for the payload listener. My IP address is 10.02.15, and if you want to get that IP address, you can just come over here, click, just hover over your mouse here, and you see the IP address here is 10.02.15, as you see. But if you want to just see through the command line, you are coming into the command line that is actually here, just clicking on this link here, and this page comes up for you. And after that, I have a comment here, and then I just paste it for you in the announcement, and it shows you about the IP address that you can have, that is 10.02.15. So I just here type 10.02.15, and if you are not just typing, it actually put it as default. Okay. And again, it asked me about the web template, about the things that you want to load to distract the user. And this, for example, Google can comes up in the background of your web browser, and while you are doing that, it actually distracts the user. But I don't care about that. I prefer to have just like Java required, so I just click number 1, and after that just hit the number. And again, there are lots of different numbers comes up for you, but I want to just pick the Metasploit browser auto pwn, which is the number 46, and then I click enter, hit the enter button. The last option that we have is that, the last step that we have is about which of these things you want to do, which of these spanning you want to do. So I'm going just to pick the Windows reverse TCP interpreter, right, which is number 2 again. I just before that I want to mention that all of these things have just some explanation, enough explanation for you in front of that and in the documentation of social engineering toolkit. If you have any other ambiguity, if you have any other question, you can go into the document and see that. Just hit the enter here, and it asks me about what port you want to use. 443 can be my default port, so I don't change it. So let's see here. If I'm going into my web browser here, like open here and then go like Firefox, as you see it start listening. So I'm just typing Firefox here, and then one page comes up for me. I just want to show you how it happens. So I just type 10 0 2 15, and then like one port like 80, like one port like 80, and then see what it happens. When I'm doing that, I should wait for this part to tell me where it goes. So don't care about 443, just care about 80, and it just tells you in this part that okay, it just start monitoring that is 80, and it tells me that okay, some person is coming into my web page and it's trying to do some stuff, and you can monitor, you can listen this stuff here. So this is one of the one of the really basic rules that you can have in your toolkit, in your social engineering toolkit. And the good thing about is you can have a really good website, you can have a really powerful website, and you can entice the user to click on some links through just clicking OK, or clicking like okay, your username is not good at all, you can just change your username, you can just change your password here, and through typing that you can see what happens in the side of your in toolkit in the Kali Linux. So there are other options, and I provided for you the links to see. For example, you can even send an email to the victims and ask him to change, for example, some stuff in that email, or for example send some sensitive information to you. If you know about how to design an email in a good way that the for example the victim thinks about that it's coming from a legitimate organization. So I provide the links for you, and if you have any question regarding to the social engineering toolkit, or regarding to the how you install the Kali Linux, you can send an email to me and I can provide answer for you. So good luck.